Padre Pio rarely spoke publicly about the end times, but behind closed doors, with his most trusted spiritual children, he shared visions so intense, so shocking, that even hardened souls trembled at his words. He didn't give dates, he didn't speculate, but what he revealed was a glimpse into a future where the world would face its reckoning, not from war or nature, but from within. A silent rebellion against God, led not by monsters, but by ordinary men who forgot the sacred, and his message was clear. You are living in times more dangerous than the flood. According to those close to him, Padre Pio received visions of great spiritual darkness covering the world, where truth would be twisted, evil would be celebrated, and the Church would suffer not from external persecution, but from betrayal within. He said, "The smoke of Satan has entered the sanctuary." It wasn't just metaphor. He saw altars stripped of reverence, sacraments mocked, and even shepherds leading souls away from Christ in the name of progress. His heart broke for this future, not because of the violence, but because of the silence of good people doing nothing. Padre Pio described a time when the faith of many would collapse overnight. Families would fall apart, morality would become relative, and even believers would begin to question if God was real at all. But what horrified him most was that the world would not reject God outright. It would simply replace him with comfort, science, self-worship, and hollow rituals. He warned that when man begins to live as if he is his own God, the justice of heaven must respond. And that response, he said, would come like a thief in the night, swift, silent, and unavoidable. Yet Padre Pio didn't share these things to frighten people. He shared them to wake them up. He said, "Do not be caught asleep. The world plays while eternity approaches." He begged souls to return to prayer, to confession, to the rosary, to anchor themselves in the sacraments like a ship bracing for a storm. Because the days would come, he warned, when grace would be harder to find, not because God withdrew it, but because souls would no longer seek it. The greatest danger of the end times, according to Padre Pio, is not destruction, it's indifference. Padre Pio revealed to his closest spiritual companions that before the final shaking, a series of unmistakable signs would begin to unfold, not just in the world, but in the hearts of men. He warned of a growing coldness, a loss of love for the sacred, and a widespread blindness to sin. Churches would still stand, masses would still be said, but many would attend with empty hearts. He said, "The world will wear the mask of faith, but deny its power." This spiritual lukewarmness would be the beginning of the Great Fall, not an explosion, but a slow collapse of conviction. He foretold that natural disasters would increase, not randomly, but as a form of divine warning. Floods, fires, storms, and plagues, allowed not to punish, but to wake up souls who had grown numb to grace. He said these events would be brushed off by the world as climate change or bad luck, but in truth, they would be signposts of mercy, God calling out to a world that no longer listens. Padre Pio compared them to the rumblings before a volcanic eruption, small enough to ignore, powerful enough to destroy. Padre Pio also spoke of great confusion in the Church, where even devout Catholics would begin to question which voices to follow. He said there would be wolves in shepherd's clothing, and that many spiritual leaders would become more political than prophetic, choosing popularity over truth. But he urged the faithful not to abandon the Church, even when scandal erupts. Instead, he said to cling tighter to Christ in the Eucharist, to know your faith deeply, and to follow the voice of peace, not noise. Because in the end times, deception would not come dressed as evil. It would come dressed as compassion, without truth. One of the most chilling signs Padre Pio spoke of was a sudden silence across the earth. He described it as a supernatural pause, a moment when all technology, noise, and distraction would cease, not for hours, but for days. During this time, people would be forced to sit with their conscience. No screens, no escape, just God and the soul. He said, "It will be the mercy of God one last time to show each man the state of his soul." This event would either break hearts open for conversion or harden them forever. But it would be a gift, a final chance. Padre Pio made it clear, in the days of great darkness, God will not abandon his people. In fact, he will raise up hidden warriors, souls who appear ordinary but burn with supernatural faith. These won't be celebrities or theologians. They'll be mothers praying the rosary in kitchens, priests offering the Mass in secret, teenagers choosing purity over popularity, and workers quietly whispering, "Jesus, I trust in you," while the world falls apart. Padre Pio said, "The greatest saints are being formed in silence today. They will shine when the darkness falls." He urged the faithful to prepare, not with fear, but with faith and fire. He said that those who remain in a state of grace, who pray daily, frequent the sacraments, and stay devoted to the Blessed Virgin Mary, will be protected spiritually and even physically in ways the world won't understand. He believed that these souls would become like divine lighthouses, guiding others, holding peace when others panic, offering truth when lies reign. He often said, "The rosary will be your sword, the Eucharist your strength, and Mary your shelter." But he also gave a warning. This battle would not be easy. Those who speak the truth will be mocked, silenced, even persecuted, not necessarily with violence, but with isolation, humiliation, and pressure to conform. Padre Pio said, "The faithful will be called dangerous, intolerant, and unloving, but they must not bend." He told his spiritual children to expect betrayal, even from friends and family. But he also promised, "He who stands firm with Christ will never be abandoned. The trials will be painful, but they will purify, and through them, the remnant church will be made radiant again." During these times, Padre Pio taught that the Holy Spirit will act in extraordinary ways, visions, miracles, conversions, and even divine protection of certain homes and communities consecrated to the Sacred Heart and the Immaculate Heart of Mary. He foresaw small pockets of light scattered across the world, homes glowing with prayer, where angels would stand guard and evil would not be allowed to enter. He called them islands of mercy in an ocean of chaos, and he urged believers, "Make your home one of them. Begin now." Padre Pio's prophecy wasn't just a warning, it was a message of victory. Because although the storm will come, and although the church and the world will be shaken to their core, he made one truth absolutely clear: God wins. He said, "After the darkness, there will come a dawn so bright the world will not remember its shadow." He saw not just the fall, but the rising, not just the judgment, but the mercy that follows it. For those who remain faithful, who cling to Christ when others run, the reward is beyond imagination. He spoke of a renewed church, purified, smaller, but radiant. A church no longer admired by the world, but feared by hell. He said this renewal would not come from institutions, but from hearts, from ordinary people who passed through the fire with their faith intact. He saw a generation, young and bold, who would rise from the ashes of a fallen culture and restore reverence, holiness, and truth to the altar. Padre Pio once whispered to a friend, "The children of today's tears will build the church of tomorrow's glory." This time of peace, he said, will not be perfect, but it will be holy. Families will pray again, Confessionals will be full. The Holy Mass will be reverent and powerful once more. And most of all, the world will remember who God is. Padre Pio described it as a kind of second springtime, short, perhaps, but enough to gather the final harvest of souls before the ultimate return of Christ. He said this time will be marked by miracles, conversions, and a hunger for holiness, unlike anything seen in generations. A final outpouring of grace. But to reach it, the faithful must pass through the trial. Padre Pio's final plea to those who would listen was this: live as if the time is near, because for your soul it already is. Make peace with God. Pray the rosary. Confess regularly. Consecrate your home. Love fiercely. Forgive quickly. And never ever give up your soul for the temporary comfort of the world. Because while the storm is real, so is the crown. And for those who endure, he promised, a joy awaits that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no heart has ever imagined.